Hey everybody, welcome to J&J on Jazz, powered by Jazzwire. This is my friend James Moore. He's wearing a soccer outfit, but I know he's a hockey man.
I am a hockey man. I'm very upset that the Pens lost, and Jeff's still upset that Gretzky went from the Oilers to the Kings, right?
You know, I haven't paid a lot of attention to hockey for a long time, but it's May, it's 2022, and the Oilers just made it into the playoffs or got through the first round, so I'm excited about that. What are you going to do? I actually watched some hockey. So and when I'm not busy watching hockey, I'm playing the blues or trying to. So, you know, what I want to talk about today, James, get your take on this, is the idea of, last time we talked about this idea of playing dominant over minor, right?
Yes.
That shouldn't be allowed, right? Like they're right. They're not the same tonality. Today I want to talk about the blues over major tonalities. So again, there's a real conflict. Some of us may know the blues scale. We'll put it up on the screen for you. Flat thirds, flat sevenths, that should not work in a major tonality. It's wrong, would be one of the ways to put it. But it can sound fantastic. I mean, do you hear some of the great players using that, James?
Oh, absolutely. It's not a cop-out. It is, and that's the thing. A lot of times you will hear players say, man, you know, like it's a thing, you want to avoid it. You do want to be careful about it. You don't want to overdo it. But if you do it right, it's not a cop-out. The blues are part of this music in all ways, shapes, and forms. Agreed.
And, you know, I have students inside Jazzwire. By the way, I would love for you to come in and see what we're talking about with Jazzwire. You've heard me mention it so many times. Grab the 30-day free trial. You can look at hundreds, almost 1,000 lessons on many, many different songs, but most importantly, see how people are working together. That's the secret sauce inside Jazzwire. So now, inside Jazzwire, I've had people kind of talking about, you know, somebody sounding bluesy, like it's kind of mysterious, or like they had to have been born in a particular state during a particular era, or like the muse felt in a particularly cranky way that day that somebody could sound bluesy on such and such a tune. And it's actually a bit of a mechanical fix. I want to tell these people is there's literally the blues scale. And when you know sort of which one to use in which spot and you do it correctly, it can really, really work. So that bringing out the blues in a tune that isn't a blues is actually not that hard. Would you agree with that? I mean, to me, it's easy when you know how. Maybe we put it like that.
I would agree with that, Jeff. The caveat being that you need to listen to the masters. And also, luckily, we've got a handout for you this week, and we'll show you how some of these devices work. Because you've got this scale. And like I've always harping on, when somebody hands you a scale and they say explore the sound and they don't give you some basic rules, you're kind of rudderless. You're kind of swimming in the dark. So there are certain rules with this scale. One of the things I hear a lot of is people aren't sure what to do with that flat 5 or a sharp 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
It does two things. It goes sharp 11 to 5, or 5 to sharp 11, or sharp 11 to 4. I mean, those are just my basic rules. Of course, there are exceptions to that, but that's the one where I hear people not sure what to do with that funky note there. It's like it's supposed to lead you up or down. Right, Jeff?
That is huge. It's exactly right. I mean, we can sit on the note, but right. It's a note that wants to pass up or resolve down. I totally agree. Mm-hmm. Man, love it. Well, so let's do this, James. Let's play some B-flat rhythm changes. I'm going to put it on the handout in the key of C, which, you know, of course, is the key of tenor and trumpet players. But whether you're an alto player or a trombone player or whatever it is, you can just look at all this in the key of C, transpose it to the key that you want to be in. C is just easy to look at for a lot of us, right? So what I'm going to do is I'll play 3 chorus or 3 A sections, let me say. And on the sheet, on the handout, I just plugged in a couple blues licks in a couple practically random places. So one of the licks I put in is a song we're doing. Actually, you and I are teaching the Jazzwire Summer Summit this summer. Everybody out there knows it as Maryland Summer Jazz for the last 18 years. But one of the 15 songs we're going to do is the Hank Mobley tune. Is it called Dig Dis? Is that what it's called?
Dig Dis.
Dig Dis. And the third measure of that blues tune is this. It's one measure of a tune. You wouldn't think that's anything. That is one of the greatest blues licks of all time. So that's one of the licks I have in here. I have another tune you may know. Right? Bag's Groove. So I just plugged in some very simple blues scale stuff, and I'm mixing it in. I'm going to mix it in with some playing the chord changes stuff, some major kind of stuff, then some blues. So see if you can use your ears. I'm talking to the people out there, and hear when I'm using that blues sound, and hear when I'm sort of inside the changes. And I hope James will do an example for us. So let me play a little bit for you here.
Yeah, Jeff, perfect example, right? None of that sounded contrived. I've heard the masters do that kind of stuff all the time. It's totally in there. It's exactly what I would expect to hear. In fact, if I didn't hear someone playing blues over rhythm changes, I'd probably question it a little bit. Even if it was just a little bit of it. You got to have a little bit of that in there for me.
I like it. And now, so let me ask, why in the world, since we're looking at this thing in the key of C, I know we were playing in concert B flat, but the example's in C. So let's talk in the key of C. Over a C major chord or over an A minor chord, why does that E flat work? It's wrong. It's straight up wrong. Why does the B flat work over an A minor chord? That's wrong. What do you think?
Are you at this? So it's not rhetorical. Oh man, I actually have to answer this.
Yeah. See?
So I think for me, it's about the rhythmic intent of what you're playing. First of all,
Cool.
There's rhythmic intent. It's in the idiom. You're using those shapes the right way. And also, let's remember, too, that when you play those sounds over a dominant 7 chord, you are often still having that minor third happening at the same time as the regular third. We just might think of it as the sharp 9, right? Mm-hmm. But I think our ears are accustomed to hearing those dissonances as not dissonant, right? Or as not out of context. And finally, you don't just play those notes square right on the nose. You're putting emphasis on them. You're vocalizing them, even if it's subtle. You're making it sound like a voice. Those are the reasons I think it works.
Man, I was trying to put you on the spot, and you had like 3 good answers, dude. All right, bring in it. I like that.
Okay. I got lucky. Ooh,
I don't know about that.
Well,
no, it's exactly right. And so another thing I may add, it's sort of rephrasing what you just said. I was thinking melodically. I wasn't thinking harmonically and vertically. So I was thinking in a linear, horizontal, melodic kind of way. So I was playing things that make sense with that logic. So if you try to analyze it vertically, pausing time and analyzing my E flat relative to that D minor chord, you would question that. But you're using the wrong analysis tools for what my artistic approach was. So I used to do that as a young player because I really and I'm wired to analyze the music. And so I would just be so confused why Sonny Rollins was allowed to play an E flat on a D minor chord, and it sounded so damn good. So now we know. Hey man,
well, I tell you, I'd like to get in here too.
Yeah. Cool, I want you to play. That's what I was going to ask.
Great. I'm going to play a chorus, just a straight chorus of rhythm changes with the bridge. First A section, I'm just going to play straight the changes. Second A section and the last A section, I'm going to use a lot of blues. So let's see if this works.
Awesome. man, that was excellent. And I liked hearing the bridge in there too, of course. But what a great example of how, sort of playing in that major key, how beautiful that sounds. And then when you go to the blues, it's just this incredible other flavor, right? And you were using, was it entirely the blues scale, would you say, to get that sound?
Pretty much. Yep, pretty much.
So there weren't, all sorts of extra notes that are secret notes that you're not telling. No, it's that scale, right? So I love what you said at the beginning of the session here is listening to the greats and sort of learning the logic of how to use that scale. You can't just kind of knock away at that scale and think you're going to have the best luck, right? So learning how it works, and you were playing that way. So again, it wasn't about some mysterious other notes you were playing. It was how you were using that really limited, simple palette, I think we could call it.
And trust your ears, everybody. Trust what you're hearing the masters do and just do it. If it doesn't make analytical sense to you, great. Ignore that for a minute. Let your ears be your guide to that kind of stuff. So much of this music defies analysis in the traditional sense. And that's one of the things that makes it so beautiful.
That's great. And, one last thing I'll say before we head out of here is I do have people inside Jazzwire who trust their ears. And you know what? It doesn't sound good. So that's what we do inside Jazzwire, right? We all have good intentions. And so every once in a while, someone will do all the rules we're saying, and it's not quite happening. It could be their articulation. It could be they're just sharp and they didn't hear it, right? So there's all these little ways to kind of let air out of the balloon. So trust your ears, trust your instinct, transcribe your heroes, and then that's where we get into the community, right? Whether it's with a mentor like James or I, or whether it's with a couple hundred other adult musicians like yourself working together. That's when we do the fine tuning, which kind of makes all the difference.
Dig it. I think that's a good place to leave it, Jeff.
I say we leave it there. That was fantastic. I really enjoy playing the blues and, getting some Hank Mobley in there. That's never a bad thing either. So, folks, I want to invite you into Jazzwire for sure, the 30-day free trial. And it is May. In July 2022, we have the Jazzwire Summer Summit, both in person and virtual. The in-person sessions are getting close to sold out. We're sold out for horns. We have one guitar spot. We've got a couple rhythm section spots, piano, bass, drums. I would love to work with you in person. And if you're elsewhere, if you can't get to the DC area, the virtual session is incredibly powerful. We've done that 5 times to really, really happy people. James has been there for some of that. So I hope we'll get to work with you. Yeah. You guys play some blues and get into this sound of that minor bluesy sound over major. I think you're going to really enjoy it.
Yep, do it. We'll see y'all next time, all right?
All right. Take care.